Hi, my name is Michael Waits. Thank you for joining us for this very special edition of Insurance for the New Possible. We are broadcasting live from the Chubb Insurance booth at the Singapore Fintech Festival, the largest fintech festival in the world and a knowledge platform for the global fintech community. We could not be more excited to be here. Now let's welcome Winsley Bangit, the Vice President for New Business at GCash, with whom we will discuss driving innovation, making protection more inclusive and accessible. Insurance for the New Possible is back live on day 2 of the Singapore Fintech Festival. Winsley, thank you so much for coming and doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really
It is so
nice
awesome.
Energy here.
It's really exciting, isn't it, in a way? You can feel it.
It is. And exciting to have this conversation with you.
So am I. Let's jump right into it.
Happy.
Let's talk a little bit about GCash. How important is financial inclusion to GCash, and how do you facilitate this inclusion, particularly for those that live in the more remote areas?
Cool. Financial inclusion is really at the heart of everything that we do in GCash.
Right.
The Philippines is a developing economy with a large portion of the population still unbanked. And what we wanted to do is to be able to not just provide convenient services for them, but we want to make sure that we solve their everyday financial problems. So definitely we talk to them, we learn insights from them. And what we've realized is that it's not just about creating platforms or solutions.
Right.
It's enabling an entire ecosystem for them.
Right.
So for example, we have this user who is a seller. We call it a sari-sari store in the Philippines. It's like a mom and pop shop, but it is located high in the mountain trails.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing was, when we encountered this, it's accepting cashless digital payments. So the question is, what's it doing in the middle of nowhere?
Right.
But what we've learned is that for the seller, it's really a utility, meaning he doesn't have to go down to the city, spend 2 to 3 hours commuting, spend $10 just to pay bills, settle his businesses there. So it's really a utility for them. And also we have this seller in the province where in fact now she could accept cashless payments all over the Philippines.
How does that work?
Seller wares. Because of course with GCash what you do, you just you sell online, right? Informally, I have like for example a cake, right, or whatever merchandise that she sells, and he just posts her GCash number. So accept payments, he ship out the products. So again, it's not just convenience. These are real life livelihood tools that makes them more productive.
How does that culture that you have inside the company like permeate so that everybody, because I can feel in your voice like this happiness about being able to serve somebody up in a remote area, either in the mountain or even in a remote province. How do you maintain that culture inside the company? It's so important, right?
Admittedly, when I joined GCash, I was really impressed on how purpose-driven everyone is.
Right.
From the developers, our marketing to our sales. And these are young, energetic people.
It's a great feeling, right?
It is. And what happens is actually they're just out there looking for how can I make things easier? How can I make things faster?
Right.
How can I make things more convenient? How can I make things shorter for our customers? And I think that's I guess that's a culture that's being practiced across the whole organization.
Right. How do you communicate with your potential users, with your potential customers? I mean, in the Philippines, there are what, 100 million people, 90 million people?
More than 100.
More than 100, right? And how many, like 90 million people use GCash? It's a big number, right?
But how do you huge number.
It's a huge number. How do you communicate back and forth with them to get the insights necessary to then do what you do and provide them the services that they need?
Well, a couple of things, right? So definitely we do your run-of-the-mill market research.
Right.
But what we do because of our pervasive presence and we understand not just their behavior, but their data. And when you say data, the way they behave, the transaction signals that they send, the affinity groups that they do. And from there, again, we work with a lot of market research and data scientists. And that's where we unlock a lot of insights.
Yeah, it's really great to do that. Let's talk a little bit about insurance. What are some of the unique features of G Insure that make insurance itself more accessible to Filipinos.
Yep. So GInsure is a unique digital platform that aims to protect Filipinos, right? So within GCash, what it does is we provide easy access to insurance products.
Okay.
And secondly, we provide a diverse, comprehensive portfolio of protection services.
Go ahead.
So first, I'll start with access. So when it comes to access, we have two main channels. We have a digital marketplace, and of course, we have an embedded insurance. That's why we're partnering with Chubb. And it's very game changing for us because outside the marketplace, what it does is it makes insurance closer to the everyday habits. So again, it makes things relevant.
Relevance, right? It's really important.
Relevant.
Go ahead.
To whenever you are or whatever context that you're doing. Are you paying your bills? Or buying your load? Or buying online?
Right.
So again, it's very contextual. And on the second part is, of course, we have a diverse portfolio. We have 38 products across 8 categories. So it's really providing our customers that full suite of comprehensive coverage.
When you go back and look at the data you were talking about before, the way you interact, and then with the data scientists and the market research, are there situations where you see things being done and think, wait a second, if we insert a piece of embedded insurance here where it doesn't exist yet, that our clients would then need it and use it?
Definitely. And actually, as we speak, it's really, we've identified a lot of these consumer journeys.
Right.
And it's really up to us really just to develop the right products, the right journeys, and the right platforms for them. Again, we're happy with the partnership with Chubb. Actually, we've collaborated with a lot of products already, with a couple of products. And I guess the wisdom there is how do you customize it based on who the customers are, what are their capabilities to spend, what type of protection do they need. So I guess it's a beautiful partnership that we have.
You mentioned earlier this idea about the Philippines being still a developing market. And if financial inclusion is important, then financial literacy as well is also important, right? How does GCash work to make the concept of insurance, the concept of protection, easy to understand for its customers who may not have been exposed to insurance yet, right? So that woman or man who's selling up on the mountain may not have been exposed yet. How do you help them understand what it's all about?
You know what? What's funny is insurance is not a foreign concept in the Philippines.
Right.
But what it is, the current perception is it's expensive. It's complex.
This is what they think, right?
What they think.
Go ahead.
I need an agent or I need a financial advisor to sort things out with insurance. Right. So what we're doing is, of course, we do a lot of education. Financial literacy is something that we're very passionate about. So we do have a lot of edu materials. We have tutorials. But more importantly, the tools that we have are a couple of things. We have what we call an AI-powered CRM.
Okay, talk to me about AI-powered CRMs.
We use that to do hyper-personalized communications. So, for example, we know if you are a gadget user, are you a traveler, are you a shopaholic, right? Are you how do you call this? A working mom?
Right.
But it's really more of so that we get to understand what's the right product or service that we need to introduce you to. But outside of our personalized communications through CRM, again, that embedded journey for me is really game changing.
Yeah.
Because what it does, it's at the point of purchase and at the point of transaction, where you need it, the person who needs it, the right relevant product is there in front of you. So therefore, it's not really about pushing things for you, but making things relevant for you.
Yeah, in a way, it's more customer focused rather than product focused, right? You don't just want to push a client a product.
Exactly.
You want to push them something that's relevant to them and let them decide in a way, right? And that's way more customer focused. You know, you talked about like embedding insurance into transactions and also into the point of sale and making it relevant. Is there a way to do the same thing for financial education? Do you know what, like you've just made a sale or you've just made a payment and then you can say, you may consider insuring this because of this thing? Does that make sense as well?
Yes. And actually financial education and tutorials, like I mentioned, we do have tutorials, but guess what we've built within the app is also an experience. There's an embedded tutorial or hand-holding experience
along
the
the way.
Along the way.
Go ahead.
So we have what we call nudges.
Nudges?
Yes.
I like it.
We nudge you towards, okay, this is something that you need. You're traveling. We nudge you towards a travel insurance. It's a payday. Or, you know, I'm sure you're familiar with the double sales.
Yeah. So
Right.
1111,
Yeah, it's
1122, constantly.
and then
Yeah.
we nudge it towards, you know what, you should protect yourself from online shopping and online shopping fraud.
Right. I want to get to that too, but go ahead.
Yeah, so actually, those tutorial nudges and walkthroughs are actually embedded in the experience that we've built in the app.
That's really
Because
cool,
again,
actually.
GCash is, we are a mobile first, if not a mobile
Right.
mobile only service.
Right.
So we want to make sure that things are DIY, things are simple, and things are really easy to reach by our consumers.
You mentioned this idea of hyper personalization and also using data, right? And also it's built into the experience. The Philippines is actually a really interesting language country, right? Where the native language, that Tagalog, if I'm wrong, tell me,
Yes.
but English sometimes get mixed in. Is there a way to understand the way that your clients are using language and then using the AI CRM to adapt the language specifically for a specific person, where you can see like what the balance is between the Tagalog and the English that they use?
Yes. I may digress here, but
Please.
I want to pick up on your topic in terms of the CRM, because with CRM, what we do, of course, it's AI powered, it's targeted already,
Right.
but we also use it for A/B testing. So what we do for the
Interesting.
same concept or product or service,
Right.
we test various languages. So can we do it in English?
Right.
Do we do it in, we call it Taglish.
Taglish,
It's a
yep.
mix of English and Tagalog.
Right. That's why I asked.
Yes, and so definitely for specific products, for example, affluent products that are targeted to the affluent market, definitely English works.
Right.
But for the mass market, we make it Taglish, we make it Tagalog. So I guess it's really that flexibility and that hyper personalized capability.
Do you find it fun? I can see in your face, like you look happy about this, right? But do you find it fun to do that A/B testing, find out what works? It's almost like gamifying the whole experience in a way. And you're like, that worked, and it feels good, doesn't it?
Exactly. Actually, I had been a career marketer,
Okay.
right? And having that capability really frees up a lot of unknowns for us, because before you cannot act on, if I don't know what to do with this, but with capability of A/B testing,
right.
being flexible, being able to create multiple campaigns and targeted to whoever who's receptible or relevant to it. Because it's the technology makes us really more powerful.
Do you mind if I ask you a little bit more about AI?
Sure.
So almost a year ago, ChatGPT was released to the world. And before that, we were using AI in a bunch of different places, in places actually where people didn't even know, right?
Yeah.
Just like finishing emails and a bunch of other places. But once ChatGPT was released, did you notice a difference in the way, as a country, people were reacting to the presence of artificial intelligence, particularly in the context that you're talking about?
Yeah. So definitely, again, I know we are at the early nascent stage of AI.
Yes.
And definitely there's a very big utility towards efficiency and productivity.
Absolutely.
Right. And I guess that's where it's being used. And I see that at least in the Philippines, both from a business point of view and a consumer point of view, there's really an openness to it.
Yeah.
Right. More than a shiny new tool, it makes things more productive for us. I
Absolutely.
mean, Philippines is a service-oriented
Fair enough.
country. Anything that would help us address customer service,
Right.
business process automation.
Yeah.
Right? AI really, I think, would be at the forefront of that efficiency.
It does. If you think about all the content that gets produced in the Philippines, all the
Yes.
writing, all the image generation,
Definitely.
I use it every day, and it makes me so much more efficient. I want to talk about one more thing, and then I'll let you go. Talk to me about how the super app, because when GCash started, it wasn't a super app,
Wasn't.
but it is now.
It is.
And how does that benefit not just the users, but the company itself? Do you know what I mean? The back and forth.
Cool. So definitely with GCash, we've evolved beyond payments.
Yep.
So we started as a strong cashless payments capability.
Right.
We do the largest P2P transfer and remittance in the Philippines.
Exactly.
But we see a lot of adjacencies that really help financial inclusion. So for example, savings. When you open a savings account within GCash, we enable you to increase your wallet size. And when you increase your wallet size, again, you're open to more transactions.
Right.
With all of this transaction data, what we did is we have what we call our proprietary G score. The Philippines, again, largely undocumented. We don't have credit scores. Right. So we don't have collaterals. So what we do with our proprietary G score, it's a trust score. And now we enable people to be eligible for loans for credit. And with that, again, with those transaction signals, we're able to build affinities. And from there, we could identify which users will now be eligible for insurance.
Right.
So again, it's a seamless integration from transactions, services, and again, personalized insurance.
And this is really where the rubber hits the road for financial inclusion, because the only way to, you talked about for the wealthy population, but the only way to get into that cohort is to learn how to save, to learn how to use credit properly, to be insured, to have protection. And if you can do that all in one place and make it easy for people to do it, that's where the rubber hits the road for inclusion.
Exactly.
I really want to thank you for doing this. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
Lovely conversation.
Awesome.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't forget to follow Insurance for the New Possible on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube to stay up to date on all of our amazing and informative content.